All right, and we're live on the first Blacklist Sessions podcast. Very excited to finally bring this to fruition. We're going to be talking about music, we're going to be talking about video and business, and who knows what else will turn up. So we have a lot of interesting guests that are coming on the podcast, and I'm very excited to be talking to a lot of them. So today, for our very first guest is Craig Turner. How you going, Craig?
Yeah, very good, man. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, that's great. You know, it's you've done a lot of great work in the video industry. So I think for the listeners, I guess maybe a bit of background about what you've done and how you got into video and all that sort of thing.
How I got into video was I just started playing around with my camera at car. I used to be involved heavily with the car club and like a bunch of old Toyotas, old Celicas and that, and awesome blokes. And I used to just bring my camera and just make little films and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's how I started, and then. One of our biggest regrets was at our wedding we couldn't afford a videographer, and that was our biggest regret. We just regretted that was something we believe everybody should have access to, even though it does come at a cost. But in all honesty, we highly believe that video should be up there as your first thing to book, because we just honestly believe, like, as we say to couples, it's awesome to have a photo of your dad standing there at the podium making his speech, but what did he say, or how did he say it? How did his breath feel like on that, just those little moments, and you can't get that.
Well, that's it. It really is next level. Photos are fantastic. It's great to have them, but, like all of those little nuances that, you said is, I guess, so important to I guess, recapturing that memory so you're not forgetting it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. So your company is Puzzleman Productions?
Yeah, Puzzleman Productions. Again, that started with I had a Corolla, and I used to put puzzle pieces on it. Yep. And then the guys in the car club just started calling me Puzzleman. So yeah, we went and that name sort of stuck. And then as we were building the, as I say, empire, but as we were building the video production company, we thought, oh, Puzzleman's cute. It's cool. It's like in there, and also we can play on it a bit. Like we always, we say to couples, we put the pieces together, even though that sounds a bit like, we're picking up the pieces. We're not really, we're just putting the pieces together of your day and your puzzle. So yeah.
Fantastic. So you've been in business quite a long time too. I think I read 16 years.
Yeah.
So what do you think has been some of your favorite jobs over that time?
Oh, I've done so many, like heaps of weddings. Majority mainly is weddings, but yeah, I've done. I filmed Electric Gardens Festival 2016, 2017. Mm-hmm. Got to meet Fatboy Slim, Eric Ramillo, and then I filmed trance events as well. Like, and I got to meet. I didn't even know at the time. Like, I'm not at all a fanboy or anything, but when I went to these trance events and like watching, like, the trance events, I did 12,000 people in Horden Pavilion, and that was packed, and seeing the crowd there and interacting, and I just went, oh yeah, cool. And I was there to film a job. I was there to do a job. You know what I mean? I wasn't a fanboy moment. And then I got to meet some of these guys and interview them, and that was so lovely. One of Australia's top trance guys, Marlo. I don't know how to spell it, Marlo, something like that. He's like he goes all over the world, and amazing stuff. Anyway, got to film little events like that. I think that just the feeling of those massive festivals, filming them, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably one of my favorite things about being like in the video and the music industry is you just get to meet so many interesting people. Like one day you'll be working with some like top people in business, and then the next day you'll be hanging out with Lee Kernaghan. You just never know.
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, that's what's cool as well. Yeah, I mean, yeah, actually, you know what? That's true. You one day, it was a Monday, and I had a phone call. I said, and a photographer I knew, he said, Craig, I got to shoot some corporate stuff for this client. Can you come down to the city, CBD? And I hate this. I won't do so. I said, man, look, like, can you, it's got to be worth my while. Like, as in, I charge I don't want to go into the CBD job. It's an extra $500. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, and so he said, oh, it's a corporate gig. It's lawyers and that. Just come in, just do a bit of video. We've got some keynote presentation by some ex-prime minister. And I went, oh, okay, cool. It sounds cool. Anyway, so I set up all the cameras, and it was an all I got told was an ex-prime minister is going to do a testimonial to say why these lawyers are great. Anyway, I sat it down. Bob Hawke walks in.
That's fantastic.
And I'm just like, wow. And that was a fanboy moment, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
even though I was born in 83, but still, mum and dad always talked about Bob Hawke, and he was great, and he was such a character. And he walks in, and I said to him, "Oh, hi, Mr. Hawke." You know, he said, "Just call me Bob." And I went, "Okay." And so he's reading off this sheet, and he's looking at it, and he's like, "Okay, we ready?" And I said, "Oh, you've just read it now?" And he goes, "Yeah, I don't need it." And he puts it down, and we set up the 3 cameras, and we had all different angles, and he just did it in one take. Didn't even look at the notes.
Wow.
And this was, I do believe it was 3 A4 pages, and he just read the whole thing, but didn't look at them. And I said to him, "You didn't stutter, didn't mumble, nothing." And he goes, "They don't call me one take Bob for nothing." And I've got that on, like, I put that up recently when he passed, and I was just like, man, that was such a good moment. So.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable being able to remember the 3 pages worth of stuff. But yeah, I remember we were, I was actually playing a gig up around the Hunter Valley, and it was a golf day, so they had a lot of people there that were pro golfers, amateur golfers, sponsors of the event. Of course, Bob Hawke loved his golf.
Yeah.
And he was there, and I'll never forget when we were sitting at dinner, and they had Bob doing a speech, and he gets up there with his walking stick, and he's holding it up in the air, conducting everyone a waltzing Matilda, and the entire audience just like erupted. It was singing this so loud. It was quite a moment. You know, very interesting guy.
Yeah, there's never a dull moment when he was around, I think.
Yeah, that's great. So I guess from your experience in doing video, what do you think makes a good video?
Oh, 100%. It's the story. No matter what it is, a coffee shop can be told in a great story in 30 seconds to a minute, like literally. And I always say to small businesses, I always say, you're a butcher. Like, if a butcher wants to come and get video done, or this is the hard thing as well for us. I do believe 50% of small businesses believe they don't need video at all. Right?
Wow.
But no, in all honesty, and I believe half of our job is actually selling them video or convincing them they do need video. All right, and if I just read off the statistics, left my phone over there. It's ridiculous. Like, 93% of people are viewing videos on their phone in silence. Because they're usually in the dunny, or or they're sitting around a group of friends and they don't want to know what they're looking at, so they're viewing it in silence. So. And that's hard for us because I truly believe it's all about the story when the video. So we try and include, you watch any of our videos and we try and include as much dialogue as possible. The behind the scenes I did for Carly Rose recently, just engaging, just that little where she said hello to the groom, hugged him. "Oh, hi Sarah, you're here," in like, because she knew those other suppliers. Just that little bit of dialogue that makes you go, "Oh wow," like they're interacting, they know it's not just her playing guitar or her singing, it's that little interaction that I do believe draws people in.
Yeah, it's just that little bit more. And I know, like, all the time, if I'm looking at a new piece of gear that I want to buy, like a new guitar or a new camera, the first thing I do is I jump straight on YouTube and I'm researching and looking at video of people talking about it. So it's just such a fantastic way of, getting across what you do. Yeah, so I know that I do that heaps, pretty much every single purchase, probably a bit too much. So the first thing I do when I get a new piece of gear, like even yesterday, I just had the new Mavic 2 Pro turn up. Love it. First thing I do is make a video of it. And, it's great content. People can see a little bit of behind the scenes of how, like, your business works. The gear, like, I know, I just love gear. I think that's what it is.
It's true. My wife says to me, when I say to her, look, I go to her and I say, we need this piece of gear. She goes, okay, get it. And I go, but it's this much. She goes, yeah, I don't care. Because I will spend up to 2 days, like, while I'm rendering or something, researching that gear. I won't just go, yes, let's purchase it. I will, literally watch 12-year-olds on YouTube giving me a demonstration on how to use it. And I'm like, geez. But it comes back to the whole thing where it is people love the behind the scenes, and I always say to people, video content is king. And like, we had a coffee shop, they wanted a bit of marketing done, and I said to them, okay, and our marketing videos are pretty cheap for a small business, right? And also, people got to remember, any business you're in, it's a tax write-off. Yeah. Right? I'm not an accountant, but if you pay me to make you a video, that's a tax write-off as advertising, all right?
Yes.
People have to remember that, because when it comes to the end of the year and you realize you haven't spent any money on advertising. So anyway, the point point is, this coffee shop, they wanted a bit of video, and I said, look, yep, it's going to be this much. And they said, oh, we can't afford that. I said, all right. I said, put your mobile phone up in the corner and leave it recording for the morning rush. And they go, but why? And I said, make a time lapse.
Yeah.
Make a time lapse. Mate, they did it, right? No joke. They have 130 customers through the door between the hours of 8:30 and 9:30. And I was just like, this is phenomenal. And I just sped it up by, times 16 times or whatever, and made like under 30 seconds. And it was just gold for them, because they were like, wow, we didn't realize how many people come through the door, because they're too busy making all the coffee. But the point is, the customers were like, oh, wow, look how busy this place is. So it's that whole thing behind the scenes. If you can show people, we call them what it takes. So if you can show people what it takes to be you, or what it takes to do your job, mate, people will be like, wow, that's why X is so expensive, or that's why so much effort goes into this.
Yeah, 100%. I think the behind the scenes thing is great, and just talking about what you're doing as well. Like, I remember I put up a video just on Facebook. It wasn't probably like 9 months ago, and just talking about like what we were doing. We had like a special deal on at the time, and basically the process of how we make a music video. And it was just one video on Facebook. Five music videos from that one video, just talking about it. So video, I think, I know personally for myself, has just been the most effective way to get the message out there and sell yourself. And I guess even as an artist and a musician too, like, people want to see, people want to hear. So the more you can do that, the better it is. So it works across a lot of industries, I guess.
It really does. I believe it can be... It can be, what's the word I'm looking for? It can be done across any sort, whether you be a butcher shop, a coffee shop, a musician, or a celebrant at a wedding. Honestly, if you can show a little bit of behind the scenes or what it takes to be you, man, you to give you we followed a celebrant around for a whole day. We made him a behind the scenes. He put it up that night. That night, he had 3 inquiries, and the next day they locked in. And then from that week, he had 5 more people lock it in. And
that's brilliant.
You can't. No amount of advertising is going to be that effective. You try and sell Google ads or Facebook ads. All he did was make a video, and from that video, people were like, I love this character. I want him at my wedding, or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. So how do you go about convincing a business? Like, if they're kind of on the fence, like they're like, oh, should I get a video? There's a bit of expense involved. How do you go about selling that to them?
I just do it the track record way, and that is like, take our own behind the scenes. We had a cameraman follow us at a wedding for a whole day, right? And then what I did was I deliberately spliced it up to like 4 videos that were under a minute, and then that way people could see this is us at a ceremony, running 4 cameras, running audio, checking the groom, everything, so it showed how much dedication we have to our job. But I just take that aspect and do it the same way. So if I talk a lot, I always use butchers as an example, because how many butcher shops do you know, right?
Yeah, only a couple.
Yeah, only a couple. But the point is, whenever you go to a small town, there's always 3, maybe 2 butcher shops, right?
Yep.
What makes your butcher shop different from this guy's butcher shop? And I will spend a day, literally, I'll stand there and just watch the customers come in and out.
Yep.
And what is it? Is it the interaction? Is it the smile that they have? Is it, oh, g'day, John, how'd your burgers go the other day? Or how'd your party go? It's that little bit of interaction which will get other customers go, hey, I should go to this guy, because whatever. But yeah, I do. It's hard to convince them that they actually need video until they have it. And that comes back to the whole thing at your wedding. If you it was our biggest regret that we didn't have video. But if we had it, man, you wouldn't know, because you wouldn't have missed it, right?
Yeah.
But it's that whole thing of convincing businesses or musicians or artists, anything, that they need video.
Yeah, because it's so powerful. Like, as an artist, like, you don't get on TV unless you have video, so you need it. Yeah, which is pretty important, I guess. So yeah, I guess the next thing then would be there's great ways to do video. Yeah, there's also terrible ways to do video that make your business look quite bad. So what are some of the mistakes you think that some businesses make?
Look, I'm in 2 minds about this, because I always say video content is king, okay? Any video content is king. But yes, when it does come, when, you think, all right, so I just got this quote from the video guy, it's going to cost me this much. You know what? Screw it. I'll pull out my phone and I'll just record the chef deep frying some chips. But what you're not looking at is the kitchen and the mess or whatever is involved. People want to see behind the scenes, but they don't want to see behind the scenes that are bad, right?
Yup.
and I think people, yeah, as I say, any video content is king, but it's that whole thing. I've spent nearly 17 years making, right. If I want chips being fried and I want them plated up, how am I going to do that? And straight away I'm going to go, right, I want a tight shot of them going in the basket. I want a tight shot dropping in the oil.
Mm-hmm.
I want a tight shot of the plate, and then I'll have a wide shot of the restaurant, So those four things just there is me going through my mind, how would I tell this story of chips?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's very simple. But the way the business owner looks at it goes, right, I sell chips for $5. How am I going to sell more chips for $5? And that's all they think about. And I just think about telling the story, that's all.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, it's not... Well, it is about the product, but it's also about the experience you get with a lot of businesses as well, which is something that I really try and focus on with a lot of my video work as well, is just making sure that, the artist or the business are just having a great day and just having a lot of fun with it. Because that's how they remember it,
Yeah.
Deliver a great product,
yeah.
but also deliver a great experience too.
That's true. That touches on what we always say to couples. You could have an amazing photographer or a videographer, and you could have this amazing video, but if that person was a real ass on the day, you're going to remember that.
Yeah.
And that's why when we post up our behind the scenes, we're just having fun. We're just having fun with a couple, and we do these little things where we just play games and we get them to interact rather than pose in them. And that's the same when like when I did a cafe recently, it was their mum who was actually cooking, and it was mama's recipe and all this, So I played up on that a bit. I was like, oh, teach me how to make the gnocchi, and all this. So it's I know some amazing videographers, but their personal, how do you say it?
I guess their personality?
Their personality, they're there to do a job and they nail it. They don't get me wrong, they nail it, right?
Yeah.
But they just don't have people skills.
Right.
And I believe that when you can come out of your bubble a little bit, and when you open up to someone, they open up to you. You could set up cameras in an interview and just go, right, sit here, right, I'm here to do a job, here's your audio,
Yeah.
This is the question I'm asking you, right? Forget all that. Set it up, then have them come in and go, hey, can we just chat off camera for a minute and just get to know them a bit? And then they open up already, and then you just record, and bam, they're loose as goose, mate. It's great.
Massively, yeah. A lot of it is the rapport building, and I know that's why, for my business, I end up getting a lot of repeat clients because we just have so much fun on the shoots, and it's music. It's great.
Yeah.
So that's good. So being in business for 16 years, you would have seen the rise of social media from the start of making videos through to now. So how do you think that's changed the landscape for businesses and for yourself?
Another tough one, because when I was making videos, you just put them up on YouTube for the car club guys, right? And then same when I started in weddings, I just put it up on YouTube, forget about it. It wasn't maybe until 4 or 5 years ago that we started making a Facebook channel, Facebook page, and then we started increasing. We would put organic reach videos up there rather than putting them on YouTube, linking them back. And I couldn't believe the reach you would get, as opposed to, it was great, putting up a car club video or a wedding on YouTube and, get a couple of thousand views. But then you realize that those views were Scandinavia, UK, and you were like, well, they're not my clients. And that's what you really got to think. And I mean, as an artist, they could be your clients, right? You could be a heavy metal artist, whatever, and you want to go to Scandinavia because that goes off over there, apparently, right?
Sure does.
Yeah.
Woo.
but the point is, you really got to ask yourself, it comes back to that whole thing, like my page because I liked yours. Well, did that person that liked your page really your client? And you've got to ask yourself that. It's no point trying to grow your audience or like for like, because that person might not be your technically your client. But as I've said all this, actually, I'm thinking about it in a music aspect, and technically anyone could be your client, really. Everyone loves music, or everyone wants to listen to a certain eclectic type of music, and
yeah. Well, the other thing is engagement. They might have liked your page, but are they going to continue to engage with you?
That's true.
And that's a big thing, because if they're getting served your stuff and they're just not interested, then Facebook's algorithm is going to see that and then start to de-rank it for all of the people that are interested.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, something to keep in mind. But yeah, I think probably my favorite platform, I do get a lot of work through Facebook, which is great, but also LinkedIn, the organic reach is massive.
Yeah. LinkedIn, I don't use it personally, but I know a lot of videographers that deliberately, all they will do is, one of them's in real estate, and he'll just go on there and he'll be like, hey, I'm working with Tim from blah, blah, blah realty today. And that's all he does, right? So, and then he gets known as that guy that does video for the real estate guys, because everyone's LinkedIn from that platform, or from all the real estate guys know each other, or not know each other, but follow each other, and then therefore they're like, oh, I'm going to get that guy because he does the video. So if you got a LinkedIn profile and you're constantly on it about, like, for instance, as I was talking about trance music, if I started going, hey, I made this video for Malaro, hey, I made this video for Andrew Royale or something, people would just be like, oh shit, that's the guy that does trance videos. Or
yeah, that's it. Awesome. So I guess, what's the process for you generating clients? Because some people, they just kind of throw shit at the wall and, and hope something's going to happen.
Well, that comes back to the whole video content, right? Like, it can be crap or it can be good. And yeah. Creating clients for us is quite easy, because we've always got content. So us as video guys, we've always got content, and we can just go, hey, like, for instance, I delivered a couple's wedding, and I started to archive all their footage, and then I went, hey, I know there's footage of Cass filmed me on the dance floor with a guy who looked like me, like, full on. It was a doppelganger moment. And I went, oh, I'm just going to post that up. And it was just like, a 5-second clip of me on the dance floor with a dude getting a bit loose, camera in hand. So it showed me working, but it also showed we're a bit of fun, So we put that up, and that's the whole thing. We have amazing speeches that I can slice, between 5 seconds to 30 seconds out and just post them up for us.
Yeah.
So I think content, again, it just comes back to a lot of content and being able to go, hey, we're at this wedding, here's some footage, and people go, oh, I'm getting married at that wedding. Or, sorry, I'm getting married at that venue. These guys did the video. They're two together.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
No, it is a really good advantage. Because same thing, like, we're shooting music videos every week, so it's easy to slice all that up and take the best of the best, and show that to everyone, and it's a snowball.
Yeah. But I what I really loved. I read a great statistic. And you know how they say, what is it? 98% of statistics are made up. But seriously, I did a lot of research into this, and it was 83% of emails, and cold emails. And I see, because I did a bit of real estate work, like I was doing their videos, and the guys there would literally, they'd be on the phone all day and just cold calling people. Oh, are you interested in selling your house? And I'd be like, guys, like, how many of them, and I know it's hard, right? But how many of them convert into actual customers? And they'd be like 1 in 1,000. And I'd be like, how is that? How is that good? But here's my point. How many artists send emails to venues and say, hey, I'm interested in playing tonight or playing this week. Have you got any spots for me, right? But here's the kicker. 83% of cold emails, if you have a video link, guess what happens? 83% will click through, right?
Wow.
So 83%. So if you have a link, and this is the hard part, right? You can't just have a link that says, XYZ Productions made this video, here's a link, because it looks dodgy, right?
Yeah.
If it's on Vimeo, if it's on Facebook, if it's on YouTube, 83% people will go, I'll click on that, and they click on it. And if they click on it, here's the kicker, right? If they click on it and it opens, 10-minute video, what are they going to do? Oh, I don't have time for that. If they click on it and it says between 30 seconds to 2 minutes, who's got that time? I've got that time. Can you watch a 30-second video?
Exactly.
I've got that time. The point is, get a show reel, 30 seconds to a minute, make it on YouTube, send it. If you're sitting there doing cold, emails, or you want to play more venues, send them a video. Seriously, send them a video of you performing, and they're going to go, right, this is, And again, it comes down to the whole good video, bad video thing. And, you always got to make sure that the video guy has good audio as well. You can't just film a little duet playing if the guy didn't get a line out and it's just camera audio or something like that. You know, that I'll hand that over to you because that's more your side.
Well,
but yeah,
you're 100% right. Like, one of the things that make people click away from a video so fast is crap audio.
Yep.
I think it's probably even more important than the quality of like the video, like resolution wise or anything like that, because like it just, especially through phone speakers, they're already bad as it is, you know, so having low quality audio is a killer. So it's definitely worth making sure that you're getting well recorded audio, and then, you know, you get the quality video on top of that, and it's just killer.
I'll bring that back to weddings. Like when I see wedding videos that don't have any dialogue in them, like I call them fluff, because it's just like still shots, but except they're video, and there's just no story, no dialogue, no speeches, no audio. And I look at that and go, right, this guy just ran one camera and he got some amazing shots, don't get me wrong, you know, but then I go, right, he didn't run any audio, he didn't run any lights, he didn't improve the lighting, he didn't, you know, or she, whatever it is. And I'm just like, man, there's so much. George Lucas said it best, and when he said, you know, 50% of your production is audio, okay? And if you don't have that audio nailed, people, there is scientific proven fact that people will watch a video, and if it's badly shot, they will forgive it if the audio is good, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter how good the video is, if the audio is bad, they tend to go and slip away from it.
Yeah, 100%. Yep, that seems pretty accurate. Fantastic. So I guess that's one mistake that's very important not to make is the audio. If you had some advice for people that were looking to get into the field of video, what do you think are some of the most important things to remember?
Oh, gear isn't always important. No matter how much we ramble on about it, and yeah, I can say that, but, you know, I've got 4 cameras, I've got something like 10 lenses, vintage lenses. I love my gear, but if you know, I did it all again, I would buy the cheapest camera that did the job perfect, but I would buy the most expensive audio equipment. Right? Because when that was one of the things, seriously, I brought 3 cameras, or I didn't buy them straight away, but I brought one camera, I bought another camera, and I just went, right, I need another camera, I need this lens, and all I was focused on was the actual video, and it comes back again to the audio. As soon as I brought my first lapel mic, I was like, my God, this changed the world, right?
They're amazing.
And they, you know, I'm talking, this was 10 years ago, easily. But then as soon as I brought my first, you know, like a Tascam, what did I buy? Oh, sorry. First I brought a Zoom H1N or something, or a Zoom H4 it was. And so I could plug into the DJ's deck, or I could get a line out from the venue, or whatever it was, right? And then once I started upgrading my audio, I really noticed that my product was really lifting its game. And that's when it comes back to good audio is king. Good audio can, you know, substitute for that bad shot or something.
Yeah. 100%.
Sorry, cut you off. But I 100%, as we were discussing in the opening, you can jump on YouTube and learn off a 12-year-old kid making videos how to do a frame rate or how to expose properly. And you know what? That's great. Go learn that, because the more I'm like a sponge, and when I first started out, I actually put my hand up to video companies that were like top in Australia. Like, I'm talking top wedding video guys in Australia. I'd put my hand up and say, hey, can I come work for you this weekend because I don't have a gig on? They'd be like, yeah. They don't care if they've got lackeys. I'm saying I'm lackey, but, you know, carrying a bag. Because you know what? When I was there, I'd carry a bag, but I'd also watch what they were doing, and I would learn, and I would soak it in like a sponge. And that's what, if you can contact other companies and say, hey, do you need a lighting bitch, or, you know, do you need a lighting assistant, or do you need someone to carry your gear around? Do it, because you'll learn so much, and don't just be like, oh, I'm there to carry bags. Learn, like, just watch what's going on and soak it in like a sponge.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually, because I used to get a lot of videos shot elsewhere, and through that process, I learned so much about making video. So it gave me a good leg into the industry. But yeah, I'm a massive proponent of education. You know, the more you can learn, the better you're gonna get. And I spent so much time on YouTube just learning about all this stuff. And the great thing is, it's all free. You don't need to go and spend a fortune on universities or colleges or anything like that. Pretty much everything that you'd need to know to get into the industry and start making money, you can learn from YouTube. And then, you know, if you want to, I guess, make it a bit more formal, then after you've made some cash in the industry, then you can definitely go and pursue that. But it's I don't think it's a necessity anymore.
No, it's definitely not those yeah, or even back in the day when the internet or when YouTube was really kicking off, you'd pay an extra $5, whatever it was, to get the subscription to get these tutorials or things like that, Whereas now, as I say, you've got a 12-year-old explaining to you about shutter speed or something,
Yeah, they make the most insane videos ever.
Yeah, makes me a bit jealous, but it makes me like, man, if the internet was around when I was a young kid, man. Anyway,
it'd be something
I'd
else.
probably be doing the same thing. Like, probably be hey guys, here's the new Panasonic.
Yeah. All right. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was, what's the biggest reason you think that videographers, they get in the industry and they just fail. They just can't make it happen. What do you think are some of the biggest reasons for people just not making it and being able to make it a full-time career?
I believe they get burnt out, and I believe that they come into the industry, especially I've had messages, as I said, like people contact us and say, hey, can I carry your bags for the weekend, whatever, all right? But I've had people, they're like, oh, a guy in New Zealand last week contacted me, he said, oh, can I make a full-time living out of this? And I said, well, man, you're in New Zealand, and I know the housing prices in New Zealand. You think Sydney's bad, man? Go to New Zealand,
Wow.
right? Like, it's ridiculous, right?
Yep.
And I said to him, look, different living expenses, different costs. I don't understand your situation, but I do my job full time because I love it, or we love it. Cass and I, husband and wife team, we love our job. And we love meeting couples, meeting clients. We just love that interaction, and we love showing them their day or their business, or it's that whole thing. You walk into a business, and first thing I do, like a warehouse. What would you do, Jay? You walk in, you look around, you're like, okay, it's a warehouse. You know what the first thing I do is? I look up, and I look up because 100% of them employees that have been in that business have never looked at the roof and gone,
You're probably right.
right? But the point is, if you can make their warehouse look different to them, they'll be like, wow, it's that wow factor, okay? It's same with the drone. You send the drone up outside the warehouse. They've never seen it out there. Wow, look how big it is. I didn't realize how big this warehouse is.
Yeah.
It's that wow factor. I don't know. I don't know I went off on a tangent there, sorry. But the point is, I believe that they come in and they believe that they can make a lot of money, especially when they see, like, we're charging nearly $7,000 for a wedding video or wedding and photo, right?
Yep.
But they see that, man, if they looked at our books, they'd not realize, I'm not pocketing that, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of expenses involved.
A lot of expenses, and especially when you do things right. Like, when we get a bit hurt when people undercut us. But I look at the people who are offering video for $1,000 or whatever. They're not licensed. They're not insured.
Yep.
They're not paying for licensing fees or anything. And we're just like, dude, like, we're doing everything above board. We're doing, more importantly, I say to couples, like when it comes back to weddings, but I say to couples, your video, we pay a license for, and it will never get taken off the internet. This guy, you can go with him for $100, $1,000, whatever. He'll put up an Ed Sheeran song. Within a week, your video will get taken off the internet. And
Yeah.
and I mean that with the artists creating their own content, their own covers, that's fine. But I'm talking about when people are using not copyright free music.
Yeah.
So anyway, the point is, I do believe you've got to love what you do at any job. If you think, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money being a plumber, that's great. Do you love being in the drains?
Yep.
If you don't love being in the drains, I truly believe you just got to love what you do.
Well, that's it. Yeah, you got to be in it for the right reasons. Otherwise, yeah, you will get burnt out, and you'll just have a bad life. To be honest, like I learned that pretty early on. You got to be doing things that you really enjoy, and then finding a way to monetize them. And I think that is the way, not only to do well financially, but just to have a great life and, love getting up in the morning.
That's it. Yeah. Really, really good. Did a, what do you sort of call it? Like a retreat for photographers and other creatives and stuff. And it's by Jesh Tarox, and he runs Superfeel and Beloved Technique and all this stuff. And his quote, one of his quotes is, "Mo money, mo problems," right? Because if you don't need money, you don't have any problems, right? But if you can find your passion, and his passion is joy, he teaches other people how to be joyful. And I know that sounds like weird, but he does little things that make you go, wow, you can see the world in a different way, right? And some sounds like some hippie convent, but seriously, his whole thing is you take your passion and you make it make it make money for you, right? So it can be whatever you want. And then the whole thing is, years ago, my pop said, find a job you love and you'll never work again, right? And that's true. But then other people will say, find a job you love, you'll never work again, but you make that into a job and therefore it's your job. But you know what? I love going to my job.
Yeah, it's great. Hey, and I guess now with the internet, and YouTube, there's more ways to monetize even the weirdest things. I
know.
There's a market for everything on YouTube.
You could sell your bathwater, Jay.
you sure could, and people would buy it, which is the craziest thing. Yeah, it just shows you how extreme the world's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess a final question that I think would be an interesting one to finish on is where do you see video going over the next 5 years, 10 years?
Okay, again, it comes back to a statistic. I read a statistic and it said in 2019, is it on my phone? I'm going to have to correct it properly, but in 2019, there'll be X amount of video uploaded to the internet, right? Mm-hmm. But the point was, I read that statistic at the start of the year and then I revisited it. As I said, I did the research, and in July it was double that figure.
Wow.
Right? And I was like, boom, right? There's something like there's so many hours of video that it would take you, if you started watching video today on the internet at the moment, if you started watching it, you'd get up to 70 years, right? And then there would be another 700 years, because by the time you'd watched that, there's video content going up all the time. And I truly believe, go through your Facebook feed right now, what's there? Every second post, I guarantee, is a video. Yeah,
it's just exponential growth.
It's just video. Video content is king, and I truly believe that I don't know where it's going. What happened when I was young? What happened? You used to sit around with your with your siblings, and you'd watch ABC after school or Channel 7. What was it? Channel 9, I think it was. Cartoon Connection or something like that, right? After school or on a Saturday morning. Now what do? Now my kids on a Saturday morning are sitting there with their iPads watching Georgia Productions on YouTube, and I'm like, this is a TV show. Like, it's literally she makes all this content, and it's literally a TV, and it's. It's just, again, these 12-year-olds teaching you how to make this content.
Wow. It's unreal. Yeah, I definitely can't see it going anywhere. And, the growth is exponential.
Yeah.
I just wonder whether it might get, more immersive. Like, you might see more VR involved in productions. But, yeah, it's really tough to know where it's going to go.
It's hard with any technology. Like, I just found out the other day, we deliver all our footage and packages on USB, and now the top name laptops don't even offer a USB dongle and a USB input anymore.
Really?
It's USB-C.
Oh, yeah, right.
So it's like those little ones. But there's no company that make a USB dongle that go into a USB-C yet.
Wow.
Right? So someone needs to monetize on that, right? But you can get these little dongles that convert USB-A to USB-C. But the point is, it's that whole thing. You don't know where it's going, and VR is one thing that's it's really taken off at the moment, or not at the moment, the past months. I've seen, people on hacking the PlayStation 1 to make it so that they can do other things, and I'm just like, dude, that's no, but it's it all comes down to people think they take one bit of technology and they think, right, what else can it be done with, or what else can I do with it? And I think that's where innovation really comes from.
Yeah, well, that's it. I had my first VR experience about 3 months ago. That was seriously mind-blowing. I had no idea that it was up to where it was, and it just completely opens up your mind to a world of possibilities. I was over at my friend's house over at Picton, and he's got a great VR setup. He's got big room and all the sensors and top of the range headset.
Yeah.
So he was like, "You have to try this."
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'll give it a go. Yeah. So I put it on, and the first thing that he loads up is just Mars, and I'm standing there feeling like I'm on the surface of Mars, just looking around and experiencing this, and I'm like, okay, I don't need to go to Mars anymore. I've been there.
Can you imagine? That comes into the technology with the 360 cameras, right? But say Mumford and Sons are performing, you've got the camera 360 there. It gets their performance, it gets their great audio, it gets the audience, and then you put the VR headset on and you're in that friggin' audience.
Yeah.
It's going to lose ticket sales, but, right, how many people are going to pay for that? Or how many people are going to be like, I want that?
Well, that's right. I see a big growth area, especially in music, like artists like Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift, where you can have that 3D camera and you can be immersed in that concert, even though if they're performing in LA and you're in Dublin.
Yeah.
So, I think there'll definitely be a big revenue stream, and I'm sure that could translate across many industries like sports and, like actually being able to be on the field.
Yeah.
I think
Imagine
that's crazy.
none of this, in America, what do they always rave about? It's courtside seats, right?
Yeah.
Well, you could actually sell 10 million courtside seats because you could just, put it in VR.
It's incredible, eh? But who knows? Who knows how it's going to go? But Craig, Puzzleman Productions, thank you so much for coming in. It's been great to have a chat, and there's a lot of really great information I think people will be able to take away and maybe implement for their business. And if you want to get in contact with Craig, then what's your website?
Just Puzzleman Productions. Just search Puzzleman Productions; it'll come up. So I always say, people say, what? It's Puzzleman Productions. I think I say it too fast.
Yep.
Anyway, just search Puzzleman Productions. It'll come up. And honestly, we always say with all the couples, anyone's looking to get into the industry, I'm here to help. I try to help as much as possible. We don't make enough video content for ourselves to make it, make people go, this guy's helping out. But you send me an email. I usually love to help people out. So, yeah. And it's been great chatting with you, and thanks for having me, Jay.
Yeah, it's been great. So this is the Blacklist Sessions. It's the very first podcast. We've got a lot of great guests coming up. Looking forward to the next few weeks. So, that's that.